Greetings, darlings. This is Annette of AnnetteLeonard.com, and I am back again with another episode of Chronic Wellness. And I'm having one of those days where I am feeling like I am having to surface through a dense and almost total fog to try to even string a sentence together. So talking to you and trying to be coherent has taken several takes, and I'm not even sure I'll make it through this one. So here we go again. I had my Rituxan chemotherapy treatment last week, and as is often true, I end up feeling worse before I feel better from those, and that's just part of the process. I thought I'd talk to you today about a creature that lives in my bathroom, and we live in a 1950 ranch-style home that has a main interior bathroom that doesn't have a direct exterior window, so it gets very little sunlight. It has kind of a what's that called, matte glass, so an opaque glass, so you can't, not opaque but translucent glass, so you can have a little bit of filtered light coming through, but you can't, like spy on the person who's using the facilities. And in there we have a kind of plant species growing that's called a Maribou ball. And if you're watching this on video, I'm going to show you. These are my Mirabou balls. It's spelled M-I-R-A-B-O-U. So I've never heard somebody else pronounce it. I don't know if I'm saying it right. But these are these sweet little moss balls that are just sort of the perfect plant life for someone with chronic pain and illness, because they don't require direct sunlight. They don't need to be watered regularly. They just sit around in their own water, and every now and then, if it gets super, super murky, you dump the water out and put in new water, and if that doesn't fix it, you can put it in the refrigerator overnight, and then that fixes it. And these Maribou balls evidently are indigenous to Japan, the base of different lakes, and they live in almost total darkness in their natural habitat. And the way they get this nice round shape that they have is by rolling back and forth on the floor of the lake bed. And I think in part it's my Pisces nature to think of things in water metaphors, but I don't know. I was thinking this week about the Mirabou ball as maybe a helpful context for those of us whose lives have been so transformed by disability, illness, and pain, as so often our inclination is to look back to what we once were, to what we once had, to what we were able to do, to the lives that we led. And it's so hard to envision ourselves a new future, a different path forward. And I guess I just had this inspiration in my sort of time between waking and dreaming this weekend. And my inspiration was the Mirabou ball, about, well, here's this life form that lives in almost darkness at a watery depth that brings me a lot of joy and just kind of rolls around on the bottom. And how can we reimagine our lives in a way that fits better and works for us better, rather than trying to put on, the clothing of our former lives, the self that used to be. Why can't we step into new selves that perhaps we don't think of trying on because we think they're ugly or unappealing or they don't have value, because we've been told that by society. And yet, look at these perfect little green critters. And if you're not watching this but you're listening to it, go look up Marabou balls. They're magical. and so are we. We're wondrously and fearfully made, just as we happen to be today, not only as we once were. And so if you're finding that the contours of your life today don't fit, and in part that's because you're trying to still fit them inside of the contours of your life as it once was, how can you change those lines? How can you draw a different picture? How can you imagine yourself into a different way of being, a different way of relating, a different way of picturing? What if you thought a day will be successful if I'm awake for 2 hours, and then when you're awake for 4, you blew past that threshold? I mean, it's time for us to reclaim ourselves and remember that we are not these pains and these illnesses. So on a foggy-headed day, that's my most cogent thought for you. This will be posting on the 5th of October, and I will be absent for the next 2 consecutive weeks. So my apologies, and I will miss you. But in the meantime, please, 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 I would be honored if you would surf over to AnnetteLeonard.com, because I have been working really hard to build a new website, and I am not anywhere close to done, but I am at a place now where you can start to see the progress and the first few pages that I'm loading, and I've got a whole new structure to it, and I've got a couple of freebies and downloads and some new links and connections and whole new organization to the site. And I'd love your feedback if you care to tell me what you think, or if you don't, but you find some things of value, then that is what it's for. So thank you for gracing me with your time today, and until we're together again in 3 weeks, be well.